connect it to the topic of the day on human rights and constitutional values. You know, what are the human rights? Human rights are, there are four main rights. One, life, liberty, equality, and dignity. Life, liberty, equality, and dignity of human being, a person, in the true spirit of the rights recognized by the Constitution of India and the United Nations Conventions on Human Rights. These are the four main rights we speak on human rights. They are recognized in the Constitution, but even without the Constitution, these are universal human rights. That is the understanding we should have. Those human rights are to be recognized because India is a signatory to that UN Convention. So those human rights have been recognized by the Constitution of India. But I want you to keep in mind that even before the Constitution of India, by the very fact that we are all human beings, and when the UN declared made its first declaration of human rights, these are the four rights. One, life, right to life, right liberty, right equality, and right to dignity. These are the four basic human rights. Then comes constitutional values. These are very integrally connected, but I'll take it in a different route and get you connected to that also. So before starting with the constitutional values, we must know what our constitution is. You know, the constitution starts with the word we. We, the people of India, having resolved to constitute India. So we constituted India. It's not somebody constituted and made it and given to us, no. So it is our constitution. So it's my country, and I belong to this country. And this country is my country. So that's why, you know, for 12 years in the school assemblies, we always took a pledge. India is my country, and all Indians are my brothers and sisters. This is the basic constitutional concept behind that pledge. So we constituted ourselves into a country. What sort of country? This country is thus built on 5 foundation stones. That this country is it's a sovereign country, it's a socialist country, it's a secular country, it's a democratic country, it's a republic. These are the 5 what you call the foundation stones. Even you call it a cornerstones also, but not in the corner, but in the center. There are 5 foundation stones. It's sovereign. It's not under anybody. Nobody has any say over the sovereignty of this nation. It's the people. We, the people, decide its sovereign, rather constitute its sovereign characteristic. We are not answerable to anybody. Anybody means outside. We are not accountable to anybody. We are not under the dictate of anybody else. Nobody can have any domain over us. That's the beauty of our sovereignty. We owe allegiance only to the Constitution of India. Then socialist. Socialist, you will have to understand in terms of many of your students are economic students, to be just understand it as opposed to capitalist. Our economic policies are all in the socialist pattern, not in the capitalist pattern, as simple as it is. Then let me say republic. I'll just change the order and say republic. Republic means, you know, we are governed by an elected person. The top executive of this country is an elected person, namely the President of India. And anybody can become the President of India, you and me, provided, you know, some of students may not be, because you need to be qualified to be elected as a member of the parliament having the age of 35. So in case you are qualified to be elected as a member of the parliament, then you are entitled to become a President of India. Need only be a citizen. So anybody can become the President of India. And the top executive position is held by an elected person. It's an indirect election in the sense, you know, we participate in the election through our elected representatives. That is why it is the election is held. So anyhow, he's an elected person. That's the republic. We have a written constitution where the top executive is an elected person, namely the President of India. Then we have two more cornerstones. One is democracy, another is secularism. And what is democracy? Democracy, if you ask me, or if I ask you also, you will say India, democracy means government of the people, government for the people, government by the people. It's no doubt, it's completely true. No doubt about it. It's a government elected by the people and elected for the people, and it is of the people. Though there have been a lot of trolls on this also, but democracy has to be understood where we have an elected government ruling you and elected government of the people and for the people. Well, I would like to take democracy in a different perspective altogether. That in me, according to me, it simply means, democracy means where everybody is a system of government, where everybody has a system of governance, rather than system of governance where every person governed has a space and he has a voice. So long as I be a person, so long as I am a citizen who has a space in the country and who has a voice to raise in the country, I can say I live in a democratic country. The moment this space is denied, the moment the voice is suppressed, I cease to belong to a democratic country. So the fundamental characteristics of democracy is your free space and your free voice. So long as these free space and free voice are secured, then there is nothing to worry. You're in a perfect democracy, and this is a type of perfect democracy you and I are born into, and you and I are bound to keep this country. You and I are bound to keep these democratic values in our life and in our governance. This space and voice is not only the duty of those who govern us, but is the duty of every one of us who live in a democratic country. You will be in a college, you will be in a home, be in a panchayat, be in a ward, be in any organization. Well, your right to have a space and your right to have a voice. If both are secured, then you are a democratic person and your organization is a democratic organization. India does not believe and India does not practice the existence of any organization which is not democratic. That is the beauty of Indian approach to democracy. Not only that the republic is democratic, but we want all our systems of governance to be democratic as well. So my space and my voice. I put it in so similar terms so that we can always remember these things. That's why, dissent becomes, as I told, debate and dissent, the AICUF route. Debate and dissent are part of a democracy. If there is no debate, it's not democracy, it's autocracy. If it is not dissent, it is always majoritarian. Again, it's not democracy. That's why there is a beautiful saying as far as democracy is concerned. Sometimes in democracy, votes are not only to be counted, but sometimes to be weighed also. That's why the voice of the minority. No, the majority constitute the votes, but the minority constitutes the dissent voice. When in court, you might have heard dissent or dissent, whatever it is, if we are in a bench of two, I may not agree, so my dissenting judgment. If you're in a three, then of course it goes to three. But if you're in a bench of three, the majority would constitute two and the dissenting will be the single judge. If you are in five, it's called a constitutional bench because just to tell you for your information, only constitutional bench means a bench of 5 judges or more in the Supreme Court dealing with issues of grave constitutional interpretation, serious issues, substantial questions of law regarding the interpretation of the Constitution. Under Article 145(3), those questions are to be heard by a bench of minimum 5 or more. So that more in the history of the Supreme Court of India has gone up to 13 in the famous Keshavananda Bharati case, but minimum are 5. So this is the constitutional bench. In the constitutional bench also one may differ, it's called dissent. I may not agree. I have dissented in some of the judgments. And somehow dissented on my judgments also. So they are also dissent. So debate and dissent are the critical parts of a democratic system, of our democratic way of living. Without debate and dissent, there is no democracy. There is no democratic way of life. So democracy essentially is a way of life, to take it and summarize it that way in beautiful words. And it's a way of life, whether you have a right to debate, you have an opportunity to debate and a right to dissent. This is how we have to understand you have to understand democracy. Then comes the last foundation stone, the secularism. What is secularism? Secularism, probably you may have also heard that, it simply means this country does not have an official religion. That is the shortest or what they call simplest meaning of secularism. A country without an official religion is a secular country. But that is not the Indian secularism. Indian secularism is wholly different. It does not have an official religion, no doubt about it. Though maybe 70% old people belong to the Hindu religion. But the country is not, does not belong to the Hindu religion. Country belongs to everybody because it gives no importance as to whether you believe in a religion or you don't believe in a religion. So long as you are a citizen, you belong to this country, number one. But if you're a citizen, if you want to believe in a religion, you are free to believe in any religion of your choice. That is the beauty of Indian secularism. And India has a very positive approach to secularism, because India promotes people to believe in religion, because India has recognized the role the religion can play in molding the character of a person, to making a better human being and a more responsible citizen. This is the beauty of Indian secularism. India recognizes, it respects, and welcomes the role of all religions, because India believes that religion can play a very important role in molding a citizen, molding a human being, and making a more responsible citizen. So that's how it, as I told you, maybe more than 70% are Hindus, but it welcomed Christianity, it welcomed Islam, it welcomed Zoroastrianism, it gave birth to Buddhism, it gave birth to Jainism, it permitted Sikhism to be also to be born. So the Hindu religion of this country, in this country, is very open that way. Because the majority, because that religion and the community and the people generally, that's the beauty of Indian quality. The people believe in sources of light coming from whatever source, and believes that people should be promoted to permitted and promoted to believe in religion, whatever religion they want, because all religions help man to become a good human being, and it helps him to be molded as a better citizen, more responsible citizen, better human being, and more responsible citizenship. That's the beauty of it. So that's why it, and this is actually couched in Article 25 of the Constitution. Article 25 comes in the chapter of fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are those rights, as Sister Vinitha referred to. They are so fundamental to the existence of citizens in the country, so that they are guaranteed to the people of India. That's why in the 5 cornerstones, we the people of India, having constituted India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, securing to its citizens certain values. So it has secured the following values. And one such value is the liberty, which is couched into this, in the preamble, it is liberty, but it is reflected as far as religion is concerned in Article 25, which speaks about the freedom of conscience and right to free profession, practice, and propagation of religion. This is actually the title of Article 25. I'll come back to it a little later, because let me come to the constitutional values now. So secularism, just understand that it is not simply reflecting that you don't have an official religion and that the community does not belong to a religion. But this Indian secularism is a secularism, principle of secularism, which recognizes and respects the role the religion can play, and therefore has welcomed all religions and has encouraged the practice and propagation of religion. That is why we have the now on the 5 foundation stones we have 4 pillars coming in. 4 pillars. The first pillar is justice. Second pillar is liberty. Third pillar is equality. Fourth pillar is fraternity. These are the 4 pillars. So we have seen 5 foundations: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic, and on this are built 4 pillars. First pillar is justice. Justice, concept of rather constitutional value. Justice is justice, social, economic, and political. So that's why AICUF is more more engaged in the concept of social justice. The unjust society. As I told you, we are born into an unjust society. We don't want to leave it at that. This is the motto of AICUF. So how is the society unjust? Because there is no social justice. The justice is still not available to vast majority of the least, the last, and the lost. So on concentrating on the least, last, and the lost, we call it marginalized, people on the periphery, the oppressed class, the scheduled caste, scheduled, whatever name we call it, those who are not able to come to the forefront and to be in the mainstream of the society on account of economic want. That's why it is economic justice. On account of social ostracization, that is social justice. On account of non-permission or inability to participate in the mainstream of the society, that is political justice. So it is social. So the 5 foundation stones, 4 pillars, and first pillar justice has 3 prods. It is social justice, it is economic justice, it is political justice. Then comes liberty. Liberty has 5 prods. It is liberty of thought, expression, faith, belief, worship. These are the fun. This is why I said I would link it to Article 25, the value of secularism. Secularism is reflected in this value of liberty, constitutional value of liberty. It is you have a liberty of thought, expression, faith, belief, worship. So this faith, belief, and worship are reflected in articles, Article 25 of the Constitution, 25, 29, 30. All these are, all these articles contain the great values of Constitution as far as this liberty is concerned. So you have this is a country. Look at this country where even if you believe in, you're only a single person and you believe in a particular religion, say X religion. Other than the non-world, non-religions, you can have a new religion, X religion. You have a right to profess it, you have a right to practice it, you have a right to propagate it also. You can propagate, yes. This country permits propagation of, free propagation of faith. But that is subject to 4 restrictions. Those 4 restrictions are this right to freely profess, practice, and propagate your religion is subject to 4 restrictions. 1, the restriction with regard to public order. Then 2nd, health. 3rd, morality. 4th, other provisions in the Fundamental Rights Chapter, that is Part 3 of the Constitution. Equality, dignity, etc., etc., etc. So you might, yeah, I'll come to that. So therefore, if it does not, your practice, your profession, your practice and propagation of your faith shall not offend public order, health, morality, and other fundamental rights. These are the only restrictions. Subject to these 4 reasonable restrictions, you can have a free practice of your, you have a freedom of conscience. Today to believe in one religion, tomorrow in another religion, day after tomorrow another religion, provided it's your conscious choice. There shall not be any allurement or duress or coercion or compulsion or threat. If you have exercised what you call free, fair, not fair, free and independent, yes, free and independent and a conscious choice, an informed choice of your liberty to believe in one religion today and tomorrow in another, yes, you are free to. But you cannot make him believe. That is called conversion. Conversion is actually something which is not contemplated, in the sense you cannot convert a person by threatening him, by alluring him, by forcing him, by offering some encouragements. No, these are not contemplated in the constitution because it affects your free choice of religion. But on my own, if I, having studied, having understood, and having decided to accept it as my religion, if I come and join in a religion, nobody can stop it. That is the free practice of, rather free profession, practice and propagation of religion. That is the constitutional value as far as liberty of faith, belief and worship is concerned. Thought and expression are reflected in Article 19 of the Constitution of India. Freedom of association, freedom of free speech, etc., etc. And the fundamental basis of this liberty concept is, that's, I can tell you in a small sentence, you have a right to wave your hand, but there is a limit. That limit is till it touches the nose of the next person. So this is your liberty. It is not absolute. It is permissible, but there is a limit to it. And that limit it is, when you exercise this right, it shall not offend anybody else. That's why we say, no, you can wave your hand, but stretch it only to the extent that it should not touch the nose of the next person. That is, that's why you always, the law classes, we explain this concept of liberty. Then comes equality. Equality also has two poles. Equality of status and opportunity. The status and opportunity equality is under Article 14. The most used article in constitutional interpretation is Article 14, where it does not permit arbitrariness. It is it's actually a democratic way of life, right? This practice of equality of status and opportunity. In simple terms, it means everybody is equal before law and everybody is entitled to equal protection of laws. Equal before law and equal protection of laws. So your right to equality in India does not depend on whether you are you belong to X religion or Y religion, whether you belong to X state or Y state, whether you belong to X, you speak X language or Y language, whether you belong to X gender, Y gender or Z gender. We have a transgender also. Whether you have this culture or that culture, whether you have you are from this part of the country or that part of the country, no. See, irrespective of your caste, color, creed, sex, language, region, all are equal before law and all are entitled to equal protection of laws. And just keep in mind, of the basic constitutional values, two basic values are available to non-citizens also. Rather, constitutional rights are entitled, rather fundamental rights are available to non-citizens also. Those two fundamental rights are a right to equality and right to life and liberty. When we spoke about human rights, you remember human rights are right to life, liberty, equality and dignity. So all these are constituents of our Article 21 of the Constitution of India. Your right to life and liberty are protected by the Constitution of India. And this Article 21 and other Article 14 on equality are available to non-citizens also. As otherwise, all other religion, all other fundamental rights, including the right to practice any profession, including the right to practice any religion, including the right to propagate any religion, including the right to form association, trade, etc. Everything is available only to citizens of the country. But 14 on equality and 21 on life and liberty are available to non-citizens also. So this is about equality. Then comes the last constitutional value, what is called fraternity. You know, the 5 foundation stones, when I said, we constituted India, securing to all these values of justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. And this value of fraternity says assuring, the value of constitutional value of fraternity says assuring the dignity of the individual. dignity of the individual, and the unity and integrity of the country. So the constitution has secured for constitutional values, and the fourth value, fraternity, has assured to all people in the country the value of dignity of human life, dignity of the person, not only human life, dignity of the person, dignity of the individual, and the unity and integrity. These are the three pros as far as the fourth value, fraternity, concerned. Your dignity and your country, our country's unity and integrity are part of this value of fraternity. So these are actually the basic constitutional values, of the Constitution of India. All these are actually reflected in the preamble to the Constitution of India. Now let me touch on this aspect of constitutional morality also. You might have heard a lot about this constitutional morality in our discussions, particularly on the Sabarimala issue as to what the constitutional morality is. Constitutional morality simply means, your right to liberty, equality, and dignity, as is always part of the human rights concept also. Your right to liberty, equality, and dignity. This is the constitutional morality. So the moment you say morality, that goes to the sense of right and wrong. And then it goes to the question of conscience also. Who decides what is right and wrong? So that's what's called the constitutional conscience. So the conscience of a person in the country, and more particularly a citizen of this country, is constitutionally formed. This is the constitutional conscience. And that constitutional conscience is based on the fundamental premises of rule of law. There is a rule for everything, and everything in this country is ruled by law. This is rule of law. You may be the President of India, you may be the Chief Justice of India, you may be the Prime Minister of India, you may be a teacher, you may be a principal, you may be a student, yes, but you are not above law. Howsoever high you may be, you are not above law. This is the principle of rule of law. Everybody is bound to follow law. Law is the supreme thing. That's why, the Constitution and the laws made there. And when judges take oath, they take oath saying that they will impart, they discharge their duties without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that they discharge their duties to the best of their ability, information, knowledge, and belief, and that they will uphold the Constitution and the laws. So upholding the Constitution and the laws is actually a duty of the court. So my dear friends, I will stop it at that now because we need some time to have some discussion. This is all I wanted to give you a bare idea as to what the human rights are and the constitutional rights are, constitutional values are. So all those human rights of life, liberty, equality, and dignity of a person are secured in our Constitution because India is a signatory to the UN Convention, and those rights have actually been reflected in our Constitution of India. But even without the Constitution of India, these rights were originally there for every citizen of this country, because this country always particularly respected and protected the rights of everybody to lead a dignified life.